be covering that. So these are the 3 Microsoft exams that the curriculum, the details of which we are going to cover. The next slide that you see is basically tells you about what is SQL Server really used for. Now, to understand what is SQL Server really used for, you need to understand what is data. Okay, now, so same thing is, there is another product for MS Office called Microsoft Word. Okay, now definitely you are using Microsoft Word as well for typing uh, your emails or your documents, the CVs and all the stuff. Okay, so when we compare the two products that you use, the MS Word and Excel, okay, the difference is the content that you store in MS Word is unorganized data, and the content that you store in Excel is organized data. Now, what do you mean by organized data and what do you mean by unorganized data? Now, unorganized data, some of the examples will be like the emails that we type, the chattings that we do, something that we see in Facebook or any social sites. Those are all data. For computer, everything is data. So you go and create a file, that's data. Okay. So the anything which is not really organized. So for example, an email that you type, it's not organized. You just type in some paragraph, something that is related to the topic, or you want to tell something to somebody and you are typing that, okay, which goes and becomes a data for the computer, okay, and then it goes to the other person as the unorganized data. So he basically can read it and that's it, he can store it. Now organized data is a special type of data. Now that data needs much more complicated or much advanced software. Okay, to start with, the most basic one is what you use is Excel. Okay, so in Excel, what do you do is you just don't go and type anything. Okay, basically you create the structure first. So for example, the employee, let's say you want to store the details of employee in your Excel file. Okay, so we just go in, open the Excel, you open a new sheet, and then you start typing the titles, the headers, basically the columns. So you give an heading to each of the column that the data that you're going to store. For example, the employee data, when you store in Excel, you say employee code will be your first column, employee name will be your second column, maybe the date of joining, the department that he belongs to, the location that he works, and so on. So you create the headers. So once you create the header on the first row, from the second row, what you do is you start typing all the details of all the employees, okay, and collect it in that one sheet. So your first row will be your employee one, the second row will be your employee one, because the first row is the header. The third row will become employee two, and so on. Okay. So what did you do? I mean, you first created a structure for your organized data. Okay, once you created the structure, then you went and stored the details. Now let's say you want to store the attendance, basically the daily attendance of the same employees. Okay, what do? You go in and create a next Excel file. Okay, again you go in and create all the headers, the columns, right, and then start writing the daily attendance. So employee number one, so and so date, present, or so and so employee on that date, leave, sick. So these two examples, basically what we saw was examples of organized data using Excel. Okay. Uh, Now similarly, Microsoft SQL Server is also a software which allows you to store organized data. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, and Excel is a very simple software, but an SQL Server is a what do you say, a dedicated software specially for organized data. You cannot store anything unorganized, right? In Excel, if you want, you can type a letter. Am I right? You can just go in and type a letter if you want. It will allow you because it is not made for that. I mean, it is not strict in that, but it is made for organized data. But in Excel, sorry, in SQL Server, you can't do all that. In SQL Server is specialized software for storing organized data. Okay, it's called as RDBMS, database management system, relational database management system. That's what this is. Okay, it is this RDBMS. Okay, which stands for relational database management system. Okay, now what is, okay, database management system is, just you saw the Excel itself is DBMS sort of. Okay, because if you're organizing, if you're storing organized data, what it is giving you is allowing you to store organized data. Okay, but the two examples that we saw, the first example was employee records and the second example we saw was the attendance. Okay, when you store it in Excel, it was two different spreadsheet. There was no relation. Okay, you have to manage everything on your own. For example, okay, let's say a new employee joins in, right? A new employee joins in and you forgot to enter his record in the employee sheet, right? But still, your Excel will allow you to put his attendance in your second sheet, which is your attendance sheet. Okay, because there is no validation, there is no strictness, there is no integrity check. Okay, Excel is not capable of that. Excel is not made for that. Okay, it is a simple database management system. Okay, but when you store the same details, basically all this, the attendance, the employee details, the salary that we give, all these are nothing but part of a big system called payroll, right? Everything is a payroll thing. So payroll stores employee details, salaries, everything that we give. Okay, so you should not be using Excel for that. Okay, for anything that is a proper complete system, I mean much more collection of data, I will say collection of organized data, you need a proper RDBMS for that, which is why SQL Server comes into picture.